In this week's Blue Light Hotspot, we're going to be focusing on the country of Greece. And I will tell you, this country is so packed full of history. I'm definitely going to be tapping you all who are part of the intuitive archaeologists because there is such rich material to share here. But I'm just going to be touching the highlights and where the blue light beings, star beings, are showing me where to illuminate most of this blue light in this talk. So if you are new to my YouTube channel, my name is Nancy Rebecca, and I am a retired registered nurse, but for 30 years now, I became suddenly sighted 30 years ago, meaning suddenly my eyes opened after an out-of-body experience. I had a full psychic awakening, which means then to this day that I can see within several dimensions of the human energy field at the same time, as well as the spiritual realm. But my focus has been mostly on the human body because I am a registered nurse. However, it was about 10 years ago that really global and universal frequencies started coming in, and I started getting communication at a much larger level for humanity. So I blend that with the personal human energy field. All right, so let's leap into this because after we got into the blue light, now that we've had those big surges, there's a lot of celestial blue light that's coming in. And this week, the focus is on the country of Greece. So how do I do this? Well, whenever the blue light beings come in and they're like, okay, there's a lot of blue light activity in the country of Greece right now. We want you to talk about this. So I go right into meditation and I start kind of channeling intuitive psychic information. So let me read to you exactly the information that I got. Any of you can do this. I just tune into the feeling, the hearing, the seeing, and the knowing. And those are the categories that I cover. So right away, when I went to tune in, the very first thing that I could feel, so I could feel this, I could feel closed gates, closed boundaries. I can hear like a slamming of metal doors. I can hear the locks of keys that are really reinforcing the locks. And then I get the impression about everything's kind of locked down around the area, locks all over the country, except for many of the small islands. So the small islands didn't have the locks. And then the upper arching area of Greece. So if you look at the map of Greece, I don't know. I look at kind of the upper arching, it kind of arches over to the right. That part is quite blue, and there are not as many locks on that. There's also a very large area of blue towards the center. So there is a white energy that looks like snow that seems to be falling all over the area to include countries at the top, so the bordering countries. Now there's a white energy that it kind of looks like snow that is really showering down not only on Greece, but also on the neighboring countries of Albania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Turkey, and even across the water at Italy. And it seems like this kind of snowflakes that are falling, to me, they look like very high frequency light codes. Now, I don't often see these high frequency light codes in white, but I will tell you that when I have been in communication with these star beings that go by the name of Amma, A-M-M-A, they're always in white. There's a lot of white, kind of a pearly energy around them. And of course, if we can remember all the images of the Greek gods, they always wore white robes. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the light codes, but there was an extremely resistant, stubborn lockdown. So there's these light codes that are coming in, but the locks, it literally looks like bolted locks that require a key that is just snapped down on the whole country, almost the whole country of Greece. There is also what I was picking up intuitively. There's a strong feminine frequency that appears in the upper right of the country that has broken free of this resistance. It's almost like a political resistance. So if anybody knows anything about this, please enlighten us. This political resistance is holding back the high level potential to explode into higher frequencies. So this whole area of Greece, I'm being told, was one of the highest frequencies on the earth. It was almost like the core, the heart of the earth back 10,000, 100,000 years ago. And for some reason, its entire frequency for all of you from Greece or living in Greece, for some reason, it started to get shut down. And again, I'm not sure why, but there is this awakening process that's happening in the country of Greece. And I'm very excited about it as I kind of tuned in. I'm kind of listening in, but let me go back even more to the information that was coming through. So again, high level potential to explode into higher frequencies. Then I'm shown like a cast iron press molding dough, almost like, you would make waffles or pancakes. So it's like the dough is here to be shaped, but it's pressed by this, hot metal mold. And it's like this force. There's this force there that's wishing for everything to be molded in the form or the fashion of whatever this kind of leadership is. So I'm not sure if it's a political leadership. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it's older than, we'll say, a couple of 100 years. I mean, it's not that old, but wow, does it have a grip on the frequency in some of the areas of Greece. But that's shifting and that's changing, and that's why the blue light is there. But then this was the part that I found super exciting. It was like, we'll say, like 20 miles above Greece was almost like this entire floating city of white. So it was like white marble, like everything was white. The buildings were white. People are wearing white. But this is the thing. It wasn't all white. There was this like rainbow, like just this depth rainbow of colors. So here I can see, down here in Greece on the land, there's this locked energy, this suppressive energy, this kind of shaping and molding into the way, it needs to be versus this high frequency. And it just seems like it's getting lower and lower and lower. It looks like, when it hits the land there, this whole sense that there's going to be this massive awakening amongst the Greek people there, and the ancient wisdom that is deep in the earth that is just mystical and magical. There's just this enormous awakening. And there's this sense, I don't know if you're familiar with Pan, P-A-N, which is an earthly being. I think he was half man, half goat. He always would have the flute, I think. Pan, there's a strong sense of Pan. So Pan is much older than the Greek gods. Pan is very much an earthly, mystical being. But Pan, we're not going to go into it that much because Pan does not play an enormous role in this talk today. But I did want to mention it just in case the intuitive archaeologists know anything in Greece about some of the ancient mystical deities like Pan. All right, so it leaves me curious as to why is there so much spiritual frequency battling going on? When did the frequency begin to get suppressed? So I've just said that. Is this a battle of galactic forces, I ask myself, or is this a battle of the gods? Because back then there were a lot of battles of gods. And then there is, as I was meditating, it was like, whoo, this enormous, big force of feminine energy comes in. It's gathering up to overthrow the opposition of male misogyny. That's exactly what I was told. This force is building. This force is building. So I'm super, super fascinated to see how that one's going to unfold. But then Spirit told me the men have forgotten. So I heard like this little whisper. The men have forgotten the beauty of the male frequency and its ability to enhance the higher frequencies of hope, of hope. And so it's like there was this domination lockdown that's kind of fearful and it's kind of brutal in this kind of creating barriers. And now there's this frequency of like, once the rainbow comes on down, and then there's this, just this like hope just goes out. So again, I'm excited. The frequency of hope that Greece is sharing with the world is just beautiful. So it feels, as I said, neutral, but not neutral. Again, it's almost like, the mission hasn't landed yet. It's like,
Houston, we have a problem.
Apollo 13 hasn't dropped in the water yet. It's like the penny hasn't dropped yet, but it's there. It's like almost like this holding pattern before touchdown and the plane hits the runway. All right. Then this was a very cool part. My jacket's I'm getting all excited. So then I hear this voice and it says grace. And I was like, wow, okay, grace. And then it said the graces. The graces are here. And then I was told to look up the graces. All right. Have any of you ever heard of the graces? Well, apparently in Greece. Now, I heard the 3 graces. And then when I looked up, they said there's 3 graces. And then another story says there's the 5 graces. And then there's another story of like the gods and the goddesses and the 9 graces. So, but the majority of them said the 3 graces. And I had to write this down. They bring in high levels of wisdom. Well, the 3 graces are waking up again, everyone. They are waking up again. They are connected and from Mount Olympus. They were the daughters of Zeus. They were pleasing and charming in appearance, and they brought a lot of fertility. They were known as the 3 graces of beauty, grace, and charm. So those were the frequencies that they were sharing with the world. So they brought a lot of gifts to the world. So remember, I just said Greece is awakening again. When that comes down, the penny drops, there's going to be this mass awakening in Greece. And the graces are really coming to the surface. So on Mount Olympus, is where they were known. But also in ancient Greek religion and mythology, the 12 Olympians are the major deities of Greek, commonly known to be Zeus, Poseidon, Hera, Demeter, Aphrodite, Athena, Artemis, Apollo, Ares, Hephaestus, Hermes, and Dionysus. So anyway, it was like, all these gods. So this area, it's like otherworldly beings, star beings, enormous presences came down on the earth in Greece around Mount Olympus. And this is enormous. It's like, why? Why did they come down here? Why did they choose there? But it was almost like the house of the gods, the home of the gods. So I know that everyone in Greece is going to be painfully aware that I don't know my history there, but I do know the frequencies. And so please, please, please add in the comments section so that we can all read about it. Now, this is the part that I brought in. It didn't come in a big way, but it was something that I've always been very curious about. So, the major piece the blue light beings are talking about are the graces. The main piece is the acceleration, amplification of the feminine divine that is beginning to dissolve the suppressive masculine energy in the area, and then the divine masculine energy will rise again. So, but the Oracle of Delphi, so I'm mentioning this here just in case you've never heard of it. So, the Oracle of Delphi was a woman, and the temple of Apollo was located in Delphi. So it was called the Oracle of Delphi. This lasted for several hundreds of years. There were different women that were chosen to be the oracle. And they weren't oracle, they wouldn't do private readings like, am I going to have babies? Am I going to get the guy? Their oracles were sought out after kings and emperors. They would travel from far and wide to come see the Oracle of Delphi to make decisions, strategic decisions around battle, around war, around taking over other countries, or how to run their kingdom. So this was a very, very well known, and a lot of people of importance made pilgrimages to see the Oracle of Delphi. So the Pythia is the mouthpiece Oracle of Delphi. So that's what the woman would be called. Was an agent of Apollo, which was the god of the sun. So apparently they were communicating directly with Apollo. Now it is said that they would go into this really trance-like state. Now there are some scientific studies around that area that said that it was a cave underneath, and then when they go down, it was the gases underneath that could cause kind of hallucinations. But these were very, very accurate oracle prophetic type readings. And the names were, it was called the priestess, the seer, and the prophet. So they were highly, highly revered. Now, I read another bit of information that basically said they spoke kind of in tongues. It wasn't in a language that anybody else could understand. And then there would be a priest that would help do the interpretation as they interpreted it to the kings or the emperors that came by. So pretty fascinating, huh? So I invite you to go look up the Oracle of Delphi. I'm sure there'll be YouTube videos on it as well. But let me just kind of recap about Greece. In Greece, Mount Olympus, the three graces, are the things that we really want to focus on. The blue beings of light said that in Greece, they are already starting to awaken to higher levels of consciousness. In the next year, by the end of the year 2025 into the beginning of the year in 2026, there's it's going to be a rapid awakening in Greece because they have such ancient wisdom. Once these locks start releasing, it's just going to come up through the legs and the bodies of the people that live there and through the land, and they'll just be kind of awakened to some of this ancient wisdom that existed. And they're going to need to support each other during that, because it's just going to be like, whoa, where am I? How do I know this? So it'll be exciting times, but there's still this tension right there in the land as the locks are popping. And remember, this kind of rainbow of frequency as well as these light codes that are coming in. So there are a lot of blue beings of light that are here assisting the country of Greece. And then we have Mount Olympus and we have the graces. And so I invite you to do some more research about the graces. I know I certainly am going to as well, because there's a lot of mixed information out there. So we are living in a time of illuminating the truth. So I will be excited to read any of the comments that may illuminate more of the truth of Greece and the blue light hotspot. All right, everyone, take care. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next blue light hotspot. All right, bye-bye.